all disheveled. Hi, welcome to Part of My Frenchie. This is me, 143. If you don't have a friend, you have one now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Frenchie Friday. Frenchie Friday. If you are here, drop your name in the chat. So glad that you could join us 8 p.m. on Fridays. It's our Frenchie Fridays, which are more open topics. I got like my stuff is like all over the place. I guess I should have checked that before I came on. Hey, beautiful moderator, how are you? Yeah, so it is Frenchie Friday. So this is the day when we have open topics. Hello, Dave and Patty. Well, Dave and Violet are there. Patty's not on yet. Where's Patty? Where is Patty? Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad that you could join us on Frenchie Friday. I'm trying to see if one of my Rosie, come here. Rosie, come here. Come sit with me. Come here. Come. Come sit with mommy. There. Oh, hey, Michelle. Hello. Michelle and Bubba are on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad that everybody could join us. Oh, Patty's here. Patty, yay. Hi, Patty. How are you? Hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, my little French fries are not paying attention right now. They're laying on the floor, which I'll give Rosie a pass for today because she kind of had a rough 24 hours, which we'll get into in a little bit. So yeah, very, very, very interesting and scary situation. I swear that's the thing with dogs, right? They, you know, you never know what they're going to get into. You never know what they're going to get into. But with the same sense, like in my whole like years of having a dog, I never like had so many like issues in my life. So uh then I have with these two, like Coco and Rosie. My other ones never really gave any kind of big, issue or problem like that. So but like I said, we'll talk about it here in a little bit. Oh, I gotta fix my top a little bit there. Sorry about that. So, anyways, but I'm glad everybody could hop on today for Frenchie Friday. Again, these are our topics where it's just kind of fun topics, very interactive. If you've never been here, welcome. If you don't have a friend, you have one now. Tuesdays are pet loss support days where we talk everything pet loss and grief. And if you are going through something like that, or if you know somebody going through that, please send them. Hey, how are you? Hi, Terry. Hi. Welcome back. So yeah, so if you know somebody or that's going through pet loss and grief, doesn't have to be this week, doesn't have to be last week, uh, 10 years ago. Grief hits us in all sorts of waves and all sorts of different times and all sorts of different triggers, and um, that's kind of the fun, not so fun thing about going through pet loss and grief. So, which is another reason why we strive to make it more socially acceptable to grieve your pets because they are a part of our family, as we know. And if you've ever lost one, then you definitely know. So, but yes, welcome. So, like I said, these are fun topics. So please feel free to engage. Hey, Patty's on. Patty. Hello. Welcome. Yeah, so we had quite the the interesting 24 hours. Well, I should probably say 48, but 24 to be exact. And it just, I'll tell you what, like you think you're going okay with your day, and then all of a sudden, just you get a wrench thrown in it. And especially being a pet owner, right? We want to do everything we can for our pets, and sometimes we get it wrong, and not on purpose, So uh, I will tell you about something that has happened. Then, welcome to the Frenchie Revolution. If you are here, established in 2013. If you're new here, if you are absolutely new, the 2013 started. This is my very first pet loss and support meeting back in 2013. I found this the other day, and this is probably one of my absolute favorite pictures. I had been I should brief this for those of us that don't know or you're new here. What had started all of the pet loss and grief, and then the channel and so forth, was all these guys here. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those 4 there, I lost my Sammy first, and it changed my world. It changed my world. It devastated me. I didn't know why I was grieving so hard. Society tells you one thing, and then you start going through another, and pets connect all different. Yeah, I know, right? Pets connect with us all differently. And like in the family and so forth is kind of what I was getting at. But when your family is, I don't want to say, moving on for the grief, but peacefully, transitioning their grief, and all of a sudden you're not, you feel like you're lonely. You feel like there's something wrong with you, right? And so anyways, that's what I went through. I went through like this hard grief period where now I'll be honest, his passing was it was very traumatic to me. He had boxer cardiomyopathy and was not supposed to be get excited or anything like that. And I made a mistake, and one of my friends had come over, and he got really excited and went into heart attack mode, and I lost him. Probably one of the hardest days of my life. And so anyways, so through that whole grieving process and me not understanding what was going on, no kind of resources out here for pet loss support groups. I didn't even know they existed, because honestly, with it not being socially acceptable, you really can't find anything. So what I did was I dove in and I started researching pet loss and grief, and did further studies and became certified as a pet loss and grief counselor. And my mission became to help other people like myself realize that there is nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you. And I came up with the term, if you don't have a friend, you have one now, because it's a very, very lonely place. So I started that, which hence before this was my very first pet loss. This is when I was, 2013, I was on a mission to, get everything started and rolling. I was the only pet loss support group in the area. And I went to the library and I set up this whole thing at the library and everything. I mean, I had it all laid out so very nice. And and the moderator was with me. She was a little girl at the time, or preteen, I think. And nobody showed. Nobody showed up for the first meeting. And so the moderator, I waited the whole hour. Nobody showed up. And the moderator had looked at me and she said, she's like, man, she's like, that's so sad. And I said, no, I said, actually, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, because if nobody shows up, that means that nobody needed help this week. And it's kind of how I view everything. And I thought, well, if people don't need it this week, that's good. That's a good thing, right? That means nobody's going through stuff. But over the weeks, it started to build and build and build. And my name got out there more, and vets were referring people to the group. And then people all over kind of the United States and would contact me for just advice. I would send stuff out to people with regards to pet loss and grief. Everything was free. Nobody ever had to pay anything. That was always my deal. And over the years, people are like, why don't you charge people to come to your meetings and so forth? And no, I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to do that. The end of a pet's life to me is very, very, it can be very, very costly. And so, whether you have to cremate, go through the euthanasia, anything, it's always costly. And typically if they make it to the end of their life, they could be sickly, on meds. It's expensive, right? If you're a pet owner, it's expensive, not just dogs, cats, everything, right? And so my philosophy was I never wanted somebody to feel like they had to open their wallet in order to come and get support for something that they needed. It was just weird to me. It was weird to me to charge people things like that. So I ended up, writing 2 books, and money from that went to support the groups. And then people would also donate. They started donating things. I would not accept money. They would donate, food for when they came, and all these different things. So kind of the blessings came in all sorts of forms to keep the group going. And, the only thing, sadly enough, that shut down the in-person meetings was COVID. When everything was closed for COVID, we couldn't have the meetings in person anymore because the library, I always had it at the library, and it was shut down for COVID and all that good stuff. So the meeting stopped, and then, it was crazy because I would still get calls from vets and so forth. And, people would call me, and I'm like, just have them call me. And I would sit on the phone with people for hours. And I did not mind. It's actually kind of an honor when people allow you into some of the most, personal times of their life. Stuff maybe they wouldn't even tell other people. This is when you have a pet, it's an intimate bond, right? So, I would hear stories about when they got the animal, and all these joyful stories. And of course you would, then hear about the ending. Usually you heard about the ending first, but I would kind of travel down to the good parts, because a lot of times we focus on the end and we forget about the whole beginning and all the years of great times, and when they did silly things. And God love my Coco, she does silly things on a constant. And whether she's breaking things, and I've said it before, when I do my shows or my tape shows, I don't edit anything. And I've had it where I'll just be sitting there and she'll jump in the thing, or knock. She's broken stuff off my set, or I'll be taping and she'll knock over the lights, or I God love her. I love her. She's such a blessing in my life. But she's like my bull in a china shop. So anyways, that is kind of the backstory on this whole channel. Tuesdays at 7 p.m. are our pet loss support lives. And then today is kind of Frenchie Friday, where it's a whole lot of just fun and topics, open topics. Again, we encourage people to talk, add in some stuff. So I'll let you know what happened with my Rosie. This was the last 24 hours, right? My Rosie, I know I've mentioned it here before. Rosie has allergies. She has seasonal allergies, which usually hit really bad, I want to say spring going into summer. And I will be very transparent with you. They have the one allergy shots that you can give them, but they work on her. I also don't like to I don't like to give my dog shots and stuff like that, or put stuff in them if they don't need it. So I had held off because last year she had gotten the shot, and then I was doing like bathing her once a week and this like antifungal shampoo, and it cleared up. Everything cleared up really nicely. Made sure food and everything was great. So this year, of course, we go into seasonal allergy season, and she starts getting her stuff again. Not too bad, not too bad at all. Hi, Loli. What you looking for, girly? My little Lola. She's milling around down here. Come on up. And so, anyways, and here's Coco. Here's my Coco. So you're gonna say hi. Come here. I know you want to say hi. This is Coco. For all the this is little Coco Chanel. Coco Chanel is my deaf girl. She was a rescue, and she's deaf, and she's my little bull in a china shop. So I love her. She's wonderful, wonderful dog. But anyway, so season I know. So seasonal allergies hit, and I decided I had started with the baths. I didn't go for the shot yet because she wasn't doing that horrible. And so I started with the baths and with the shampoo, and it was working quite well. No itching. Unfortunately, during this season, she'll lose little patches of hair, which grow back, but it just doesn't look pretty. But she's not uncomfortable. She's not in any kind of pain or anything like that. So what I keep her shampooed every week and all this stuff. So, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. So what happened was I like any other pet parent, right? I thought, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate everybody coming on. But I decided, why not try a different pet shampoo? And I was researching some stuff on French bulldogs and skin issues and what would work. So I found on Amazon this one pet shampoo, and I won't say the name because I honestly I don't think it's the company. I'm sure the product is very, very good. But I got this this shampoo, and I thought, I'm going to try this, right? I'm going to try this on Rosie. And I went up and I gave her a bath, and got her out of the tub, and then we came downstairs. All of a sudden, like, she just started running around like crazy, and then started licking her paws and everything. And and what it's funny because I was looking at the bottle, and it's got this horse that's on fire on the bottle, which probably should have tipped me off. But she was kind of going crazy, and I'm like, what the hell is going on with her? Oh, hey, Brady, hi, love you too. But she was going crazy, and she started itching, and all of a sudden I looked, and like part of her face had started, like her jaw had started swelling. She had started swelling under one of her eyes, and I'm like, oh my God. So I ran her back upstairs to the tub and started, I got our regular shampoo and just started like scrubbing her down, because I'm like, she's having an allergic reaction to this shampoo or something, some chemical in there. Oh, I know, right? Michelle says Bubba's shampoo costs 5 times more than hers, but it's a good one. I know, and isn't that the thing? And kind of bringing that up, Michelle. We spend so much more on our animals than we do ourselves sometimes, without even thinking it. But I got her scrubbed down, and she wasn't itching anymore. Things seemed to be good. I gave her a Benadryl, to get the swelling down here and on her eye. And, everything was fine. She was fine. Everything was cool. So the next day I had to go to work, and, I left, she was fine. And then I got a call probably like 4 or 5 o'clock-ish in the afternoon. And all of a sudden she just starts, I guess, throwing up, getting sick. She had started swelling again on her face. And I was now in like panic mode. I had called the emergency vet, and because my regular vet was already closed. And I told him what was going on. I had made an appointment at my vet for the morning because I thought, this maybe I should just go get her the shot and start all that stuff. And so I had an appointment with them, but I called the emergency vet and they said, monitor her, for a little bit. And then if need be, if she gets worse, bring her in. I said, okay. So time goes on. I'm, still working for a few extra hours. And then on my way home, I get the call that, yeah, it's getting worse. And I'm like, oh, perfect. So I rush home and sure enough, she was a mess. Her face was now swelling again. And she just looked so scary, so scary. She was like lethargic and, of course wasn't eating because she was throwing up all the time. And so I rushed her over to the emergency vet last night and they gave her like kind of like an EpiPen for people. They gave her that to stop the allergies right away. And then Zyrtec and four other shots that it was so scary. But within a short period of time, you could see like, cause she started getting welts and stuff on her. And that started, I'll tell you that in a second here, how I lost all my guys. But anyways, that stuff all went down and the things were great today. So we monitored her today and she's back to normal. She still has her little spots, but thank God. And you know what, like I said, the shampoo, I'm sure, it had like thousands of people had bought it and there wasn't any kind of negative review on it. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to post the name of it just because, because I don't want to, blackball them just in case my dog had a fluke, but it's scary because it can happen. Right. So with regards to Steven's question, how did I lose all my guys here? So my Sammy, I just mentioned he had boxer cardiomyopathy and unfortunately he had a heart attack. It was like, it's like a heart attack. Basically what happens is they get excited. It's cardiomyopathy is a disease. Oh, thank you, Sophie. It's a disease. Oh, I'm sorry. See, I had a cat when I was young too. She lived to be 21. But boxer cardiomyopathy, what it does is when they get excited, it constricts the heart, and then basically either they come out of it because they pass out, either they come out of it, or like what happened with him, his disease was so far. And thank you. His disease was so far that when his heart constricted and he passed out, he then his heart stopped working and he passed away. So, and it was devastating again for it being one of my first animals that I had as an adult. I was just devastated. Hi, Lorraine. Hello. My Daisy, she passed she had like a bladder cancer and she lived a long time. Daisy lived a very, very long time. I want to say till 14 years old she lived. And oh, well, yeah, I'll tell you that. My Cookie, she's just a short hair, or she was a dachshund. That was Michael Jordan. That was my hardest loss. That was my hardest loss because she was a young dog. She woke up one day and she was paralyzed from the neck down. And the surgery, I had an option of surgery, but they told me that she may not make it out of surgery. And if she did make it out of surgery, it was, I want to listen, what, 15, 20% chance. Thank you that she would ever walk again. So it was one of the hardest days of my life that I had to make that tough decision right then and there. And there was no time to think about it. That was literally the hardest one for me. And I didn't talk about it for years until I mentioned it on my channel a few months ago, just because I never wanted to relive it. But then it was like, I encourage people to always talk about their passings, because it helps other people. It helps other people not feel alone and understand that tough times, there's just times that you can't control. I couldn't control that. There was no, we can't control anything when it comes to death, right? We try to, we can prolong things with medications and we hope to make the right decisions. But bottom line is we can't control anything. When it's their time, it's their time. And it's hard for us to tell our hearts that, right? Nobody wants to think that today is the day. But we don't make those decisions. And even, for people, we don't make that. We don't know, when it's going to happen, when it's going to hit us, but it's part of life. It's part of life. It doesn't mean it's easy, but it's part of life. Sweepy was one of my best passings. She lived a very, very long time. And with her, when she was, I was able to have her at home with me. And I had dog TV on. It was very calming music. I had her wrapped in a blanket, and I sat and I rocked her until she passed away. So that was one of my most beautiful passings, because it was peaceful, and I got to, I was there when she was born, and I was there when she left this world. So, and she lived a very, very long, beautiful life. So Harley was my one a couple years ago, and he also had like the boxer cardiomyopathy, and I knew from going with from what happened with my Sammy that when I knew that he had to take like 5 meds a day, and that's the thing with the disease, they have to take an awful lot of meds a day. But so when he had stopped eating completely, nothing, I couldn't get the dog to eat. And, I just remember pleading with that dog to eat, please eat, so I can give him his pills, because that's how I had to give him his pills. And when he stopped eating, he stopped taking the meds. And when they stopped taking the meds, it's like they can go at any time into like heart attack mode. And I think he was going on day maybe 4 of not eating. He was still drinking, but he wasn't eating. And I was so scared. I was so scared that he was going to go through the same thing that my Sammy did. And he was so weak and everything that we had to make the decision to take him to the vet. So, and he went peacefully, next to me. So those are my guys. So where am I from? I grew up in the Chicagoland area, and now I'm in Ohio. So I'm in the Columbus, Ohio area right now. I like it out here. It's very nice and different. But do I take my dogs for a jog every day? No. And the reason why, Sandy, is because with the two, with Coco and Rosie, the two Frenchies, I can't do that. Especially in this weather, they can't be out in the heat too long. They're so sensitive. I didn't realize getting this kind of breed would be so sensitive, but they're so sensitive to the elements and heat. But I do have a stroller. They do ride in a stroller sometimes. And I have a leash that both of them, so it's one leash and it attaches two, one on each, and because I have Lola as well, so I walk all three dogs at the same time. And Lola's like 14 years old, so she's not running anywhere right now. But these two, Rosie likes to pull. Coco's very chill. So what happens is, because they're on the same leash, Rosie will pull Coco, and Coco will say, "Oh, hell no." And she does this thing where she will fall to her side and act like she's dead, which is great when I'm on the bike trail. And and people are like, "Did this lady's dog just die on her?" And I have to sit there and physically pick Coco up and put her on her four legs, and then she'll start walking again. And she does it. She dead weights Rosie because she's frankly pissed off at her that she's getting pulled. So it's I so I resorted to the stroller, for walks and so forth. And now I got one of these things that I can put on a back of a bike. It's like almost like how you see, it's like a little cart thing. So I have an e-bike that I'm going to attach to the back, because I'm like, I don't think that my regular bike can pull the two of them in there, and this thing. So I have it on an electric bike, so that'll be able to go, make it a little bit easier. But yeah, they're just not joggers. Now, Sammy was a jogger. I used to take him, on very, very long walks when he was younger and so forth. And, the other ones as well. But they're just, I don't know. They're not built for speed. Oh no, I lost my bulldog this January, but it's really hard for me till now. Practically lost oh, I know. And even Sophie, with you said you had, you lost 3 cats too. Should I consider well, it depends. It depends on, I'll be very honest, it depends on what you're going through. Pet loss grief it doesn't, if you love an animal, the grief that you have is proof of the deep love that you have. So I honestly, I tell people, if it gets to the point where, that's very normal. Where you doze off and you can see her playing in front of me, that's very normal, especially so soon after a loss. But no, I always tell people, if it gets to be where harming to yourself, a lot of my older people that would come to grief support, that was their only thing that they had. And so many times they would say they didn't want to live anymore. And that's just, anytime it gets life-threatening, because you're going to go through ups and downs. You're going to be to the point where maybe you're crying for long periods of times and all that, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly normal. And I think that's where people get confused. Even if you had your loss in January, if you're still going through the grief cycle, that's perfectly normal. That is perfectly normal. You're perfectly normal. Now, if you get to the point where you want to do self-harm, things like that, then I would say absolutely, because then it definitely, your animals wouldn't want you to leave this planet. So if you feel like that's a resort for you, now how old would she have been on the 2nd of July? It's, and you know what? That's too probably why it's hitting you, because she just had a birthday, birthdays are triggering, holidays are triggering, any kind of sounds are triggering, and um, oh, 5. So she was a little girl too. She was a young girl. Oh, I'm so sorry. Um, what may I ask what happened or how she passed? Yeah, 5 years old is she was a young girl. What was her name? Put her name in the chat too, please. Um, yeah, that's young, and that's too probably why you had 5 years with her. So or oh, and kids and grief. If you look through some of my videos, I did a whole video on kids and grief. So because kids grieve differently than we do, and the way that we speak to them about passings is very important. So uh, you have to wording's important, right? Because and we don't even think about it. We think, oh, they just went to sleep, or they were sick and they died. Well, toddlers and smaller children can start getting scared that, oh gosh, what if I go to sleep? Am I not going to wake up? Oh, I got a cold today. Does that mean I'm going to die? So they take things a little bit more literal sometimes, and or they'll see if you say, oh, they were old and they went to sleep and died. Well, a kid can look at grandma and think grandma's older, and is grandma just going to go to sleep and die one day? These are things that like kids think instead of how adults think. So it's just the way that you have to word things. Uh, but again, it's challenging with kids. It's challenging with kids. So, and especially a toddler, because they don't grasp it. They don't understand life. They don't understand death. They don't understand a lot of things because their brains are still developing, and that's fine. But I'll be very honest. Sometimes kids don't hardly grieve at all, and we get upset because we're like, why aren't they grieving? That was their family pet, but they just don't grasp the concept. Is what it is. It's not that they didn't have an attachment or they didn't love the animal. It's just they see things at a different way when their brains aren't developed like that. So and they may have not had the deep bond. Not everybody in your family is going to have the same kind of bond that with that pet. So I have an extremely deep bond with all my dogs, and doesn't and that's oh, thank you. But that's doesn't mean everybody in my family does, and that's okay. That's okay. Like I said, it's healthy. It's healthy what you're going through. But if it gets to the point where like there's self harm or something like that, then absolutely. Or if you feel that way, absolutely. One of I was telling you about the elderly people that used to come in group and say that they wanted to be with their dogs and or cats. And so my first book that I wrote it's called Peaceful Pause, and the whole premise of the story was made for kind of people like that, because the story is about a dog that passes away and wakes up in heaven, which is he's at grandma's house, and he keeps going to grandma all the time saying, well, when is my mom coming? When is my mom coming? When will my mom be here? And grandma says, it's not her time yet. It's not. She has stuff to do on earth, and when it's her time, she'll come and be with us. And so the dog is given this little keychain paw that he can hold it, and when he does that, he can kind of transform back into the house so that he can go and look in on mom and you know see the old house and maybe talk to the other dogs that are there. And then he has to go back up to heaven. And at the end of the story is, grandma telling the dog, get ready. Today is the day. We're going to meet mom. Her time on earth was done. And so, so then they get reunited again. But the premises of the story is that they wait for us. They're going to wait for us. So, oh, I know, Annette, you had said that. Uh, oh, I know. Did you say your ferret was 9? Is that what I remembered? Your ferret was 9 when you were on before. Yeah, I remember you saying that. I think was it 2 lives ago? 7. Okay. 7 years old. Oh, and what's your ferret's name? And that's the thing about pet loss too. Even when I had my meetings, you never knew what person was walking through the door and what they lost. I mean, we had naked rats, we had ferrets, we had birds, we had dogs, cats, all sorts of things. Minka. Oh, I like that. That's adorable. That is adorable. But you never knew what was walking through the door, and it was actually kind of exciting to hear the different animals and the amount of love that went to these animals. And but I never knew what was walking through the door. And here was kind of a unique one day. Everybody was going around the table, and I always said, you can share if you want to, you don't have to, you can just sit and be in the community of people that understand. So we were going around the table, and people were, kind of sharing their stories and what they lost. And there was a gentleman that when we came to him, he said that he lost a cat, and he's like, I don't know where she's at. And I was like puzzled. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know where she's at? I was thinking, does he mean like in heaven, like in the ground? What does he mean? Right. And he's like, no, he physically lost his cat. Like the cat got out of the house. And I was like, oh. And he goes, it's been, I want to say it was probably 6 months or 6 or 7 months. And he was devastated. He didn't know if she was alive, if she was dead. And I had never thought about it like that. What about people who actually physically lose their animals and don't know if they're alive or dead? I mean, that's a grieving process too. Because again, part of grief is that you have to, it's, our animals are our identity, right? So it's part of our identity when they go away. And we have to kind of readjust back to life, which is why it's hard. For everybody that loses something, because that's part of our identity. That was part of our waking up in the morning and going to bed at night, how we rearrange vacations, all the money that we spend. Like Michelle, you were saying, Bubba has, more expensive shampoo than you do. I mean, Lord, no, I can't tell you how much I've spent on these dogs. And I don't even think twice. If it was me, if it was me having an allergic reaction, I probably would have, waited it out. I probably would have been, sucking down Benadryls, trying to see if that would work before I even took my butt off to the emergency room. Unless I was like, choking and dying and stuff like that. But I mean, if I was just swelling up and so forth, I wouldn't have taken myself to the ER. But I did with my dog. I mean, it was just, it's crazy. Same thing with Coco. Coco had a $10,000 surgery. I probably pass out if I had to have a $10,000 surgery that wasn't covered by insurance, right? So we spend so much money on them, and they're very important. So when we lose them, our identity gets lost too. So and it's a readjustment. And like when we had Oh, when he has a stroke, I thought, what would I do with all of his jackets? Oh, Michelle, you say that, and I look over to my left and I've got two totes full of dog clothes. um, so I totally understand. Now, granted, I was trying some of them on the other day and they don't fit anymore. But yeah, I mean, my dogs probably have more fashionable, expensive clothes than I do. Uh, Definitely more pajamas than I do, which is shocking. I need new pajamas. I keep re-wearing these for the shows, but um, yeah, my dogs definitely have more pajamas than I do. And for those of you who don't know, Michelle is in New Zealand, and she has a her dog Bubba, and which oh, here, I'll show you here. So here, this is Michelle and Bubba, and Bubba had a stroke, and Michelle took all the time in the world and rehabbed him back. He couldn't walk, and she spent the time rehabbing him back to health when he was given a very, very bleak outcome. So, um, oh, he's, I mean, from, you tell us, Michelle, but he's from the pictures that you've shown. I mean, he looks like he's 100% basically, or I mean, he's walking, and I mean, she put a whole thing up in her backyard where she can like do uh, like therapy and teach him how to walk again. And I mean, that's beautiful. That's such a like a beautiful story. You know, it's a beautiful story. And that's what we do, right? That's what we do for our animals. And um, you know, it's we give them more love than than we do ourselves. But you know, and again, vacation wise, I know that there's several, or going out, there's several times when, you know, if a dog is sick, if one of my dogs is sick, I'm not going anywhere. I don't care what it is, I'm not going. So uh and I don't care if I piss people off or whatnot. And that's the same thing too. When you're grieving, going through pet loss and grief, you need an advocate. If you can't tell people no, give yourself an advocate, get yourself a best friend or somebody that can tell other people no for you, because that is your time that you need to make sure that you are taken care of. You need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your mind. You need to take care of your physical. And if you don't feel like going somewhere, then if you can't tell people no, or if you're worried that they're going to get, you know, upset at you, have somebody else tell them. Have somebody else tell them. And you do not deserve, or you do not have to give anybody any explanation, because you don't. It's your life, and um, sometimes that's just how life goes. So, oh, he's okay. So he's still. So Michelle says he's still semi-crippled on the left-hand side. Had a neurological injury. Lucky not in pain. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's such a, like I said, that's such a commendable story. But um, yeah, you don't have to give anybody any uh, you know, reasons. And if they give you pushback, then you know what, they don't love you. That's the way I look at it. If somebody's going to give me pushback because I don't feel like going out today because I'm having a moment, uh, that's their problem. It's not your problem. Your problem is to take care of yourself. So I have not been on vacation because of my dog and ferret. They're more important. Yeah, absolutely. And I've done the same thing. Annette, I've done the same thing. I've canceled trips. I've canceled all sorts of things. I was getting nervous because with this whole allergy thing that popped up, uh, next week, next Tuesday and Friday will not be a show uh, because of I'm going on vacation to Cancun, leaving on Monday. So I'll be going to Cancun from Monday to Friday. So there won't be a Tuesday or Friday show, but we'll have you know, different things posted this week coming up, and then we'll resume our shows after that. But I was sitting there thinking, like, I'm supposed to go to Cancun, and there's no way, if she's sick or you know, God forbid, dying or something like that, I'm I'm canceling the trip. There's no way I'm going. There's no way I could be, especially in a different country, and worry about it, what's going on with my dog. I just couldn't do it. But luckily she has bounced back, and I can continue to pack my bags and go to Cancun. I'm trying to, it's when you go on vacation, typically I don't go out of the country often, A, because it's expensive, but B, I just, over the years, I just haven't been able to go outside of the United States. So when you're in the US, you go to all these different, states, and you're still in the US, right? Everybody speaks English and all this stuff. And so somebody the other day said to me, they're like, how much Spanish do you know? And I'm like, well, why would I need to know Spanish? And they're like, well, you are going to Cancun, Mexico, where the majority of people speak Spanish. And I'm like, damn, I do not know a lot of Spanish. I mean, I used to work for an attorney, and thank you. And I'm so glad you found us as well, Annette. But I used to work for an attorney, and one of our attorneys was Hispanic, and he had a lot of, majority of his clients were Hispanic. So many of them did not speak English, but, they either, came over and so forth. But so anyways, when I had to answer his calls, sometimes I'd have to be, abogado no está en oficina un mensaje, por favor, which just means the attorney is out of the office if you want to leave a message. And then, sadly enough, they would then think I spoke Spanish and then start talking to me, and I'd have to be like, despacio, por favor, like slow down, trying to figure out what they're saying. But, a lady up north left her 3 Frenchies by themselves at home and overnight, and oh my God, someone stole them, and they have been found. What a nightmare. Michelle, we went to Gatlinburg last year. I had the girls with me. Now, there's a place called Dollywood, which is made after Dolly Parton. It's a big theme park thing, and Dollywood has part of Dollywood has Doggywood, and it's on their premises. So when you're in the amusement park, your dogs can be boarded on their property. And so I boarded the girls there. And when you go in, and it's nice. Doggywood is really nice. It's very set up very, very nice. But you have, you go in and you sign in your dogs and you sign them out, and you have to sign them. You do have to go, back and forth, like to feed them and so forth. They don't do that part. So you have to go. So I'd have to go a couple times and check on them and feed them. And I would take them out and walk them and stuff. But every time I did that, I had to sign them out, which was fine, which was great. However, at the very end of the day, I went to pick them up so that we could go home. And the moderator was with me too. I looked down at the paper where I had to sign them out, and somebody else had their name there as signing them out. If my soul could have left my body, I think it did, because I never so panicked in my life. And I'm like, my dogs are signed out. Why are my dogs? Who signed out my dogs? Who took my dogs? I'm like, oh my God, somebody took my dogs. And the lady looked, and I know the moderator thought I was, gonna probably tear down the whole building because I was freaking out. And she's like, hang on, let me look. And she looked, and she's like, the lady, the pets that were above me, the lady who had put her name on my line instead of on her line as signing the dog, she signed her dogs out, but she accidentally put it on my line to sign my dogs out. And I will tell you what, like I said, if my soul could have left my body, hi Cookie. I just, oh my God, I probably would have been ugly crying still to this day if somebody had stolen my dogs. Um, Hi, Rosie. Are you coming up? Rosie's mad at Coco because Coco's up here on the couch. Are you gonna come up here? Um, you want to come up here too? She's looking at me like yes. So yeah, oh my god, that would have totally completely devastated me had that happened. And so you said you is that Michelle? Is that why you were putting up cameras the other day to have surveillance around your house? Because that's smart too. But even like having them. Hi, oh hey, Adam, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad that you got a chance to come on. How is your mom doing? Oh, hang on. Well, come up here. You gonna come up here or no? I'm trying to get Rosie up here real quick. Hang on, come here. Come. Oh God, I'm at this weird. I'm at a weird angle, and Rosie has her "Pardon My Frenchie" shirt on. It says "Watch My Mom" on YouTube, and she has her "Pardon My Frenchie" shirt on. Oh, good, 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 good. She's doing well. Oh, well, good. Hey, exactly. Yeah, Dottie. She had 70. You know what? 70 is the new 50. That's the way I look at it. 70 is still very young. So yeah, so as you can see, Rosie's doing a lot better. But yeah, loaf exactly. She's a big potato. She's so good. She is so good. They had to go and get their nails cut the other day, and her and Lola did, and they just did so well. So, but yeah, it's scary. Even like having them in the yard, I'll tell you what, I know, right? Even like walking on our bike trail and so forth, people will hold people up and steal their dogs. I mean, who Lady Gaga, she has a bunch of Frenchies, and her dog walker was walking her dogs and was held up by a gun. Somebody had a gun and stole her dogs. Now, granted, she got him back, but they shot the dog walker, and I mean that was awful. That was absolutely awful. So they shot her dog, and he lived. He was wounded, but still, thank you. Um, he was wounded, but still, I mean, shooting somebody over stealing somebody's dogs, and I mean, part of me thinks, yeah, these are pretty pricey dogs, especially if you go to breeders and so forth. I mean, some people will pay up to $10,000 for these dogs. So, I mean, I get it, but like, man, um, which I don't know, I couldn't pay tens of thousands of dollars for a dog, um, but people do it, and I could see that's why people steal them. They'll steal them out of yards. They'll steal them. They'll hold people up. I know, Michelle, right? The world has definitely changed. Um, but yeah, I just, if the people knew how much trouble these guys were and how much maintenance I didn't know till till after my Harley passed, and we were going with a different breed. I always had boxers, and um, I can't, I can't. After I still have Lola. Lola's my boxer, but I couldn't do it again. I couldn't go with another boxer because they're too big, and as I get older, I can't lift them anymore, and so I shrunk it down a little bit to. And somebody said they're like, French bulldogs are like little miniature boxers, which they are, and they're goofy and so forth. So, but yeah, my hang on, let me put this in here. My Frenchie find for the week, we went to. I know you're so pretty. My Frenchie find for the week, we went to for the moderator's birthday. We went to this place called Bucky's, it's a big, if you're not familiar with Buc-ee's, it's this huge gas station basically, but inside is almost like a Walmart. I mean, it's got everything in there. It's got just fresh sand. It's got everything in there. So while I was walking around there, they had these Frenchie coasters, which were just absolutely adorable. And then they had this little Frenchie disc as well, or dish as well. So that's my Frenchie find for the week. But anyways, well, we are at our hour mark. Again, unfortunately, we won't have our show on Tuesday, but we will be back Tuesday or Friday. I'm sorry, but we will be back the following week, which I'll have all those posted. I hope everybody can join again when we come back on Tuesday and Friday. You have no idea how much I appreciate each and every person for. I know. Well, I'm going to miss you guys too. You have no idea how much everybody means to me, and taking your time out of your day to come on and just join the community. So it's you mean more to me than you know, and I appreciate everybody. Oh my God, right? So imagine if somebody stole Paris Hilton's dog. Yeah, well, she always had those little teacup dogs too. But yeah, it's you guys mean more to me than you know, and I appreciate it. So if you know anybody that's going through pet loss and grief, please send them to the channel. If you're going through yourself, please continue to join us and join our beautiful community. If you don't have a friend, you have one now, and that when you're here, you're family. That's what I always say. When you're here, you're family. So thank you so much for coming on. And I'm on TikTok now. I'm on Instagram now. Of course, Facebook. So follow me there if you'd like. And I hope to see everybody not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, definitely. Candle for all of our losses. Yes, absolutely. Yes, I like I said, you guys mean so much to me. So when I miss a show, I miss talking to everybody and so forth. If you want to have your pet shown on the screen, send an email to pardon my Frenchie, this is me 143 at yahoo.com, and we will put that up there. If anybody wants a pardon my Frenchie show sticker, they are all free. Just send me your name and address to the same email address, and we will get one sent out to you. So thank you again so much. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, wonderful week. Stay safe, and I will be having a margarita or two on the beach in Cancun next week. So take care and have a wonderful, wonderful night. Bye.